This Yahoo boy and his 19-year-old girlfriend had been brutally burned to death in their home after it was said they received money from a client but refused to share it with their colleagues. Now, this happened on the 2nd of October 2024 in Akwele, Kasoa, Ghana. And according to the story, 22-year-old Kwabena Osai was a known internet fraudster. Many people who knew him said that they knew what he did for a living. It was most likely not a secret amongst his friends and maybe neighbors. Now, Kwabena had a girlfriend, 19-year-old Princess Aite. Princess did not always live with him, but she spent the most of her time in his place. It was even believed that on the day of this tragedy, before she left home, her mother told her not to go visit her boyfriend. But she had to go because she worked hand in hand with him. She helped him take calls and make phone calls to their clients that they plan on defrauding on the internet. Now, it was also said that Kwabena and Princess had other colleagues who were in the same business as them, because the internet fraudster thing, the Yahoo thing, is something that it's some sort of a community in a way where only one person may not be as successful as compared to if they were in a group. It's not particularly clear what immediately led to this killing, but from what people are saying, sources close to the story claim that Kwabena had received money from a client, about $25,000. He had successfully spoken to a client and he and his girlfriend were successful at defrauding the client of $25,000. Eventually, the money lands on his desk and somehow his colleagues got to find out, in which some of them began demanding their cuts. But Kwabena did not give them. He did not yield. For some weird reason, he most likely felt that they did not deserve the cut. And he started getting threats, death threats inclusive. He may have not taken it seriously, or probably the threat wasn't as heavy on him as it should have been. However, on the 2nd of October 2024, in the middle of the night, while he and his girlfriend were in his apartment sleeping, the said colleagues or the said friends came into his home, doused it with petrol, lighted it up, and locked the doors from the outside. It is possible that he and the girl were sleeping, or it is possible that they were even in the house with him when they did this. By the time they both woke up to see that their house had been engulfed in flames, they could not run out because the doors had been locked from the outside. And that was how this young man and his young girlfriend lost their lives. Initially, when their bodies were found the next day, people thought it was an electric circuit accident. Nobody could have imagined that it was the friends of this boy and this girl that would do this to them. It was not until they saw an empty gallon of fuel outside that they realized that, somebody indeed came into the house to kill this young couple. Even the padlock outside the apartment gave it away too, that for the door to be locked from the outside, it meant that this was a deliberate thing and not an accident. The police were soon involved and they checked CCTV footages around the area where they saw the culprits doing what they were doing. The CCTV footage showed that this couple, Kwabena and Princess Aite, were actually murdered. But the problem is the CCTV footage only showed them in shadows and did not get their faces because these criminals had masks on. Their faces were covered, so the CCTV footage could not particularly spot who and who were doing this. When the story broke out, the mother of Kwabena Osai came out and said that his son was not an internet fraudster, that he is not a Yahoo boy, that he was into a legit printing business and was about to start school in 2025. Now, is it possible that Kwabena had a printing business? It's possible. A lot of these Yahoo boys usually have businesses on the side, and many of them, the good ones or the smart money ones, invest in businesses. So I can understand where his mother is coming from. Maybe the mother did not know what this boy did for a living. Many family don't. Their children just become rich overnight and they don't care to know. They just assume God is blessing them. And since he now has a business to put up front, I'm assuming that is where the mother figured that that was what the boy did. Either that or she's trying to protect his image, because Princess Aite's mother was aware of what they did. The mother of the 19-year-old girl said that she knew what her daughter's boyfriend did for a living, and she was aware that her daughter, Princess, was assisting him in what they were doing, that she was the one helping him, making the calls, writing the scripts, chatting with the clients, and it was like a business for the both of them. And the mother of this girl knew. So when she came out and said that is what they were doing and confirmed it, the mother of Kwabena was somehow still there saying that it's not what her son did. So it's almost like somebody was not aware here, and which it's most likely Kwabena's mother. Princess' mother recalled the last moment with her daughter saying before she left home to go and visit the boyfriend, her and her siblings begged Princess not to leave. Like Princess' mother and her siblings were asking her not to go, almost as if they knew this was going to happen. But she got a phone call, and this was not necessarily love, but this was work too. And I guess she answered the call, and it unfortunately ended badly for the both of them. As at the time of making this video, the police are currently in the works to find the criminals. If there's an update on this story, I will let you know. But we need to talk about something deeper here. I personally, we've talked about a lot of Yahoo deals gone wrong. We've seen one where friends of these people, most times collateral damages happen, because when it comes to money, there is always going to be greed here. And we know that the love of money is the root of all evil. Another thing again that I think also played a role here is the fact that Kwabena Osai is a very young boy. And one thing that may have played a little bit of a role here is the fact that people want to oppress him. In this line of internet fraud starring, there is always older people in these businesses who are looking for younger ones doing it so that they can oppress them and demand cuts. Sometimes, like I can imagine, these people had no right to the money, but they feel like this is such a young boy to make such amount of money and would not have to drop it or would not have to cut for them. They're just people in this line of Yahoo who don't even do anything. All they just do is sit down and wait for these people to steal money and give them their cut. And when you don't do that, they send boys after you, kill you, and rob you. And I think that was the case with this young man. Maybe he has gotten tired of giving these people money because they probably did not contribute in him getting the money. I might be wrong, but I always feel like when it comes to this internet fraudster Yahoo thing, when you successfully get money from your client, it goes through a channel of pickers, and through those channels, these pickers per se get their own cut. So if he defrauded his client of $25,000, he will most likely be getting 10 or 15 by the time it goes through all the parts to get to him. That is what I feel. And by the time it has landed on his laps, whatever he's left is his. So if anybody is claiming a cut from it, it's most likely somebody who did not deserve anything. It's most likely somebody who was not part of it. And we've seen this many times. We've talked about so many stories of people just killing young boys because they refused to give them money that they did not work for. So I can imagine that maybe Kwabena did not want to be bullied, but little did he know how dangerous and deadly this line of work is, how there are so many greedy people. Sometimes I won't even be surprised if the people who did it were people who lived with him in that house. I won't be surprised, because they're always in this house together, and then once he peaks, they find a way to get it from him and kill him so that he doesn't come for it. Only makes people do some of the craziest things, some of the weirdest, and some of the most vile things ever. I just feel bad for the girl because she got involved. It's just some sort of collateral damage. If they knew, they would have just given them their cut. But again, there's money here. 22 is so young, 19 is so young. I don't know why our community has come into this. I wish more young people are a lot more aware of what they are getting into and how this line of work can make people turn into monsters. I'm sure if they catch these criminals now, you find out that the people who did these things are just young boys too, who ordinarily would not want to kill anyone. But because for some reason they felt that they had a right to the money, they felt hurt, or they felt jealous that this boy is making money. It's just sad. Most times these people share clients. Most times they, I think they distribute the clients like it's some kind of division of labor. And maybe Kwabena had gotten a client that was given to him by someone else and he was successful with it. Now the person who gave him that client suddenly feels he has rights to the money. I don't know. I'm not sure the details. Yahoo keeps evolving every single year. So there's always new things, but one thing that has always been constant is the greed and the wickedness that comes with this line of work, especially towards young people. Once you're a young Yahoo boy who picks money, the older ones who have been in the game will oppress you, will come for you, will attach themselves to you. They will sit in their house and expect you to make the money and send to them. And when you don't, they have the boys, they have the cult boys, they have the police. They will find a way to deal with you. We saw it with the Uniport case that happened years ago that we talked about, where there were like 2 other collateral damages. Just unfortunate. It's sad that they had to die this way. It's possible to say that they were even killed before they burnt the house. And I can bet if the police are going to do the investigation, I think they should check the boys' accounts. They should check the boys' finances or find a way to assess wherever this money keeps passing in from. And they will find out that these people who may have killed him had already collected the money. You can't just burn a young boy and his girlfriend for collecting or for not giving you a certain amount of money without you taking the money. I believe that they may have collected money from him. And if they did make transfers, withdrawals, or somehow there was money from, they don't usually go through their bank directly. They usually have these methods, maybe Binance, maybe some trading app. They usually have those platforms where they can do this financial exchanging. So if the police can go through that, they will be able to find their killer, in my opinion. Since the CCTV footage is not showing faces, they should go through that. And they should also go through his frequent calls. Get to the network provider, check all the people who have called him frequently. Somebody who keeps calling him every day, obviously you're calling because you think you deserve the money. That is how you can start finding and limiting your options. It's just sad. This is a young boy that should just be in school to have a life and have a career. It's just unfortunate that we are now in a world where young people are now trying to save their family from poverty, therefore running into this lifestyle of internet fraud. And, aside it being a terrible thing to do, stealing people's money, the risk involved, it's just way unfortunate. It's just too sad. There is always a target on your back because you're not just dealing with your clients one-on-one, you're dealing with a community of people who are aware of who you're talking to, who are aware of how much you're receiving, and suddenly when the money comes, everybody wants a cut. Everybody thinks they deserve a cut. And if you don't give them the cut, they will be jealous. I would understand if it's just a picker or if he was a picker and he did not reimburse the money. I don't know if you get. I know we talked about that story about the Delta girl that was shot in her new house, in her apartment, because they said she was a picker and she was supposed to give somebody the money, but did not. She held the money. That happened to her. So we have seen and we can understand where the rage is coming from when you are expecting money, but your picker doesn't give you. Because it's a jungle out there. If your client pays $25,000 to an account that is not yours and the person is supposed to get that money and send it to you, sometimes the person doesn't get the money and send it to you. Many people do this. Many pickers have run away with this Yahoo boys money. So many. The story is endless. I think the pickers are usually, if the picker even tries to give you anything, it's out of the goodness of his heart. And that is why these pickers usually get targeted all the time. However, Kwabena's case was that his line of pickers had most likely gotten their own share, and whatever was left was what got to him. So I don't think there's anybody in line to share the money with him. These people who killed him were people who were just greedy, people who were just envious, people who felt entitled to the money. Because why are you dragging money with a 22-year-old boy? That is a child. It's unfortunate. It's just sad. I just hope the police are able to get the criminals. I hope they find them. And I hope they are brought to book. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, turn on notification if you haven't, so that whenever there's a new video, you'll be the first to get notified.